My name is Dr. Chris Bart, and I'm the co-founder and executive chairman of the Caribbean Governance Training Institute, whose headquarters is in St. Lucia, though we operate throughout the entire Caribbean region. Well, our program is very unique and widely acclaimed. It's our 3-day Chartered Director program, which we first launched in January 2014. And since then, it's enjoyed widespread international acclaim from such organizations as Sandals Resorts International. We've trained all the directors of that worldwide known company. We've trained the entire board of governors and senior management of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. And just recently, we trained the Prime Minister, Cabinet, Senior Civil Service, and the chairman of all the agencies, authorities, and commissions for the newly elected Chastanet government in St. Lucia. Our program, as I said, it's highly unique, only 3 days, Chartered Director program, is really designed to help well-intentioned, well-educated, well-meaning, often very accomplished, wealthy men and women who are sitting in the pivotal positions of organization called the Board of Directors, better understand and know what their job is all about. When we had the governance implosion of 2001, 2002, when we had organizations like WorldCom, Enron, Tyco, Adelphia collapse, the big clarion call that went out was, where were the directors? And sadly, what we found is that we had, as I said, these tremendous individuals, however, who did not really understand what their job was all about. And so they did what most people do when they're unsure. They sit there and do nothing, and they rubber stamp whatever decisions are put in front of them. Well, they can't do that anymore. The job of the directors today is very clearly spelled out, and that is to help produce a high-performing organization. So I'm going to take this now, take it backwards. If you see an organization that is not performing well, what that invariably means is they have a governance problem. And what is the source of the governance problem? There's only two sources. One is bad decisions are being made, and boards of directors are letting those happen, slip through. And second of all is that they're failing to protect the assets which have been entrusted to the organization by shareholders of corporations, by members of associations, by funders of charities, and by taxpayers of government. And so it is the job of the board at the end of the day to make sure that the best possible decisions are being made and that the assets are being protected, especially from what we like to refer to as the four evil sisters of governance. Who are the four evil sisters? Well, they are misallocation, misappropriation, misrepresentation, and misconduct. And the four evil sisters are present in every organization, and they will run rampant unless they are held in check by a diligent, competent board of directors that is there to ensure that proper safeguards are in place to keep them at bay. They'll never completely disappear. They'll always be there looking for an opportunity to emerge. So it is the diligence and ongoing vigilance of the directors which helps keep them in check, and at the same time making sure that when management presents decisions to the board that they have been thoroughly well thought through and they are not just that'll do types of decisions. Like we found with the Challenger, when the welder that was sealing the O-rings on the Challenger was looking at his work, he said, that'll do, and there was poor inspection, which allowed the Challenger ultimately to explode. Directors are there to make sure that the O-rings on their organization are properly sealed and welded so that the organization doesn't blow up. Our 3-day program is designed to cover the 6 fundamental elements of great governance which every 21st century director needs to know, understand, and master. They need to know about the principles of good governance, which are the guiding lights, the guiding thoughts, which will help them in the boardroom when they're faced with a governance problem and they don't know what to do. We talk about their roles, responsibilities, duties, accountabilities, and also, most importantly, the kind of culture and behavior that needs to take place between the directors, among the directors, and between the board and management if great decisions are going to be made. We talk about the financial oversight responsibilities of the directors to make sure that the appropriate financial controls and disclosure systems are in place to make sure that people who rely on the disclosures of the organization are not being misinformed. We talk about the seminal role of the board in helping to engage constructively with management to set probably the most important decision that an organization is ever going to make, and that's its strategy. If you pick the wrong strategy, the organization is going to drive itself off the cliff. So the directors are there to make sure that only the best possible course of action, direction, strategy is being selected. We talk about the role of the board in finding the risk appetite and the risk sweet spot that represents just the right amount of risk the organization is going to take for the right amount of potential rewards, and not allowing high-level risk-taking that ultimately could destroy an organization. And finally, we talk about director and CEO succession planning. At the end of the day, good boards begin with good directors, so you got to make sure you have the right people selected for the job, and ultimately the board delegates authority to who they think is going to be the person that they will leave in charge of the organization while they're away, and then come back and supervise to say, well, how's it going? So those 6 topics really form the bedrock foundation that if a director doesn't know and understand them, they're going to fail in their job, and then the organization will fail in its performance. Well, so far we have been to St. Lucia, St. Vincent. Obviously, this is our 3rd trip back to St. Kitts. We've been to Antigua, been to Jamaica, we've been to Bahamas. And so our plans are to return to many of these islands in the future, but also on our list, of course, is to go to the Cayman Islands, British Virgin Islands, and others. We've also been to Turks and Caicos. So we've been getting widespread coverage throughout the region, and widespread acceptance. I mean, we are right now the Caribbean Governance Training Institute, and its Chartered Director Program represents the gold standard in governance training and education in the region. And our Chartered Director designation is internationally recognized throughout the Commonwealth as the standard of governance of governance excellence on the part of a professional director. I think it really comes down to this. If you are currently serving on a board and you have not had some 21st century governance training, then I'm almost certain there's a 99% probability that you don't really understand and are fully aware of the enormous job that you have before you and the kinds of responsibilities that you're expected to carry out, not just on behalf of the shareholders or owners or members of your organization, but also on behalf of the customers who are looking for great products and services and programs from the organization, from the employees who are looking to work for a credible, responsible organization, and of course from society at large that's looking to corporations as legal persons in their society to always do the right thing. And if you aren't aware of those responsibilities, then invariably you're going to be doing a lousy job as a director. And our Chartered Director Caribbean program from the Caribbean Governance Training Institute is the one that will solve that problem for you.